How do you find a chord in a sphere? Have you ever wondered how to find a chord in a sphere? It might sound tricky, but it is quite straightforward once you break it down. A chord in a sphere is a straight line segment that connects to points on the surface of the sphere. Think of it like a chord in a circle, but now we are working in 3 dimensions. To start, you need to know the radius of the sphere. The radius is the distance from the center of the sphere to any point on its surface. Next, you need to find the perpendicular distance from the center of the sphere to the chord. This distance is measured from the center to the midpoint of the chord. Now, let's use a formula to find the length of the chord. The formula is derived from the Pythagorean theorem. It states that the length of the chord equals 2 times the square root of the radius squared minus the perpendicular distance squared. In mathematical terms, it looks like this. Chord length equals 2 times the square root of the radius squared minus the distance squared. This formula comes from the right triangle formed by the radius, the perpendicular distance, and half of the chord length. The radius acts as the hypotenuse, while the perpendicular distance and half of the chord length are the other 2 sides of the triangle. Alternatively, if you know the angle formed at the center of the sphere by the chord, you can use trigonometry. The formula in this case is chord length equals 2 times the radius times the sine of half the angle. This method uses the sine function to find the chord length based on the angle subtended at the center. To summarize, finding a chord in a sphere involves using either the radius and the perpendicular distance or the central angle. Both methods relying on the relationships between the radius, chord, and center of the sphere. Understanding how chords work in spheres connects to broader geometry concepts, making it easier to apply familiar 2-dimensional formulas in this 3-dimensional setting. So, whether you are measuring a chord for a project or just satisfying your curiosity, you now have the tools to do it.